Hello, everyone. I'm Mac Anderson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about crisis communication, more specifically, the Tide Pod Challenge, and how the Tide Pod Challenge became a public relations nightmare for the company that makes Tide Pods, Procter & Gamble. So first, I want to give you a quick overview of internet trends and how they led to the Tide Pod Challenge. In the beginning, internet trends were pretty harmless. We saw trends such as the Gallon Challenge, Cinnamon Challenge, and ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. The Gallon Challenge asked people to drink a gallon of milk in under an hour. The Cinnamon Challenge asked people to eat a spoonful of cinnamon without a drink. And the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge actually brought awareness and money towards ALS research by asking people to dump a bucket of ice water on their head and challenge their friends and family to do the same or to donate money to ALS. Then some of the more dangerous challenges began to take way, such as the bath salt challenge. In this challenge, people would pour salt on their hands and then hold an ice block to their hand until it began to burn. Eventually, the Tide Pod Challenge made its appearance, and if you're not familiar, this was very well covered by the media, but if you're not familiar, the Tide Pod Challenge challenged people to eat Tide Pods. Even though that was not their intended use, it began a public relations crisis for the company that makes them, Procter & Gamble. The handling of this crisis, I want to first get into the fact that this was an issue before um, before the Tide Pod Challenge even became a thing. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission released a statement before the Tide Pod Challenge had even become a thing, saying that Tide Pods or laundry detergent pods in general, are squishy, colorful, and they smell good. Three things that are particularly attractive to young children, and that parents should lock them away or keep them out of the reach of a child for the sake that they may eat them. This statement wasn't intended for teens or adults that would willingly eat laundry detergent pods. I also want to talk about retailers that viewed this as a crisis in their own right, such as Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens. They locked up Tide Pods because they didn't want their company to be the one that sold Tide Pods to a teen that was eventually going to eat them. Procter & Gamble released an ad shortly after the Tide Pod challenge became a thing, featuring an NFL player, Rob Gronkowski, saying that Tide Pods are for washing, not eating. And then after the ad came out, the CEO of Procter & Gamble, David Taylor, released an official statement. In his statement, he said, "The possible life-altering consequences of this act seeking internet fame can derail young people's hopes and dreams, and ultimately their health. Ensuring the safety of the population who use our product is fundamental to everything that we're doing at Procter & Gamble. However, even the most stringent standards and protocols, labels, and warnings can't prevent intentional abuse fueled by poor judgment and the desire for popularity." He also says that he's working with partners to remove videos that glorify this harmful behavior. I'd say that Mr. Taylor's statement was pretty straightforward, but in this next part of the presentation, I want to get into analyzing his statement and some of the crisis communication strategies that he used. So the first part of the statement, the possible life-altering consequences of this act seeking internet fame can derail young people's hopes and dreams and ultimately their health. I saw that he used two of the strategies from our reading in this, shifting the blame and mortification. He's shifting the blame clearly when he says that people who participate in this challenge are seeking internet fame. Not that I can say that I blame him. This was through no fault of the company, but he was definitely shifting the blame back on the people that willingly took part in the challenge. And when I say mortification, I'm not necessarily using it in the sense that the reading says. I'm using it more in the sense of the word mortified. He's completely mortified that this challenge has even become a thing and that this is a public relations crisis for the company. So the second half of his statement, Taylor says, ensuring the safety of the people who use our product is fundamental to everything that we're doing at Procter and Gamble. However, even the most stringent standards, protocols, and labels and warnings can't prevent intentional abuse fueled by poor judgment and the desire for popularity. Again, towards the end of his statement, this is a clear shifting the blame strategy back to the people that are partaking in the challenge. But I also wanted to talk about the good intention strategy. He points out that Procter and Gamble um, printed all the proper standards, protocols, warnings, and labels on their product, meaning that they had full intention that this product should be used as it was intended. But people are going to do what they are going to do, and they ended up using the product to eat rather than wash their clothes. So, how do I feel that it was handled? I think that it was very straightforward, and overall, it was handled well. I believe that it may have or it could have used a little bit of an empathetic touch, but I completely understand the frustration of the CEO, and he did a good job clearly explaining that it was at no fault of the company. I think the biggest takeaway from this crisis is preparation. We never know what the future is going to hold, and it helps if we're prepared for every situation. I don't know how Procter and Gamble could have predicted that Tide Pods were eventually going to be eaten, but if they could have somehow prepared for it, they may have been able to take care of this crisis more promptly. Thankfully, this trend has begun to die down a little bit, and hopefully, something like this won't happen in the future. If you have any questions on the presentation, feel free to let me know in the comments. And this is a list of references that I used in creating this presentation. Thank you.